On the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
Hey, we're back.
We are very back.
I am so excited about this show because this is another one of those topics we've gotten so many emails about.
This is one close to my heart because we have family law attorney Tina Lewert in studio.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey,
Welcome.
Tina.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Our listeners are going to be excited. I don't know if our listeners are all going from divorce or they're trying to collect child support, but I bet you last month alone we got about 40 or 50 emails. When are you going to do a family law show? It's like, trying to tell me something?
Because everybody knows somebody or has a family member that has gone through this. That's why.
Absolutely.
Including myself and yourself.
Exactly.
Oh, good. So you guys are going to give me your questions.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And we're going
to incorporate that.
Okay, no, I'm ready. I'm ready. No, everywhere I go, everyone I meet, there's always someone always has a question.
I'm sure they do.
Yep.
So
it affects everyone.
Yes.
We were able to get I think one of the top family attorneys. I'm not going to just say in Boca. I'm saying in Palm Beach County, if you're in Broward County. And look, again, this is all
and
about...
another one of my peeps in the house here today, you know?
This is something you don't want to Google, okay? You want to, if something
You
comes
want to be
up-
recommended, especially for a family attorney.
Exactly.
Because I have to tell you that the family attorney I used, I would not recommend.
Uh-oh.
And if you have a question for Tina, you could call Tina Lewert. You could call us at 888-565-1470.
And if they want to watch the show live right now, they can go to www.wwnnradio.com. Right there on the homepage, it says WNN TV. Click there and
There
can
we
see
are,
us.
live in person. So tell us a little bit about your background and your law firm.
Sure. I've been practicing law in the state of Florida for 14 years. My firm is Lewert Law Offices. The office is in Boca Raton, right off of Glades Road, just east of Town Center Mall. And I specialize solely in marital and family law. And people always aren't 100% sure what marital and family law means. So I always say, well, it's a very polite way, of saying I'm a divorce attorney. So what I do, we handle cases including divorce and paternity, sub-issues of which would be child support, child custody. In divorce cases, obviously, those cases include alimony issues, distribution of your assets and liabilities, parenting issues,
relocation.
Absolutely, that's a big one. Relocation,
Custody,
yes, and we also do domestic violence and restraining order issues.
Yes,
we handle a lot of modifications of custody, child support, and alimony. We also enforcement of those issues and prenups and postnups, and that pretty much, I would say, encompasses the entirety of my practice. All of those things.
she covers it all.
Yes. And just
All the good stuff.
Yeah. When you're in Boca, you better do prenup, right?
I would
Anywhere
imagine,
you should do it.
I would imagine
right.
so, yes. So give everybody your phone number for your practice.
Sure. The phone number at the office in Boca is 561-544-6861.
And your website address.
The website is www.lewertlaw.com. It's spelled LEWERTLAW.com.
Okay, so what is the process for filing for a divorce in the state of Florida? I know every state is different.
Yeah, some of them are different. Basically, the process is this. You need to reside in Florida for at least 6 months before you file. When someone wants to file or get the process started, they would file a petition for dissolution of marriage. We call it dissolution of marriage in Florida, usually through an attorney. I would recommend everybody get an attorney unless you have like no assets, no kids, married for a month. Other than that, you need a lawyer.
They get no.
So yeah, we file a petition for dissolution of marriage. The petition is generally very it's not real detailed as far as we don't start stating specifics. We don't say, okay, this one wants this piece of property and this one wants that. We state the allegations very generally. So we're going to say what the issues are. There are assets and debts that need to be divided. There are children that need to be provided for. The court should establish a parenting plan providing for time sharing and custody of the children, which is in their best interest. So you state things very generally in the pleadings.
Initially, you're talking about.
Initially, yes. And so, yeah, the purpose of the pleadings is really to put the parties and the court on notice of what the issues are.
Right.
You would file that and serve the other party. The other party has 20 days to respond. They receive the petition and documents from usually a process server, somebody who's going to show up at their door, hand them a packet of papers. It comes with a summons. It is, a divorce petition is a lawsuit, so it's going to say.
So there's a plaintiff and defendant.
We don't call them plaintiff and defendant in Florida, but yes, there's a petitioner and respondent.
Okay.
So the respondent gets 20 days to answer. They may then retain their attorney, file their answer. They probably want to file a counter petition so that they're also asking for relief. And once the pleadings are closed, the petition and counter petition have been answered. Usually we do a whole bunch of financial disclosure, exchange of documents, financial affidavits, documents to substantiate the information in those financial affidavits.
Like a book. It's a book. I filled them out, yes.
It can be a lot of stuff.
Hey, Tina, I want to ask you something. I want people to know who you are. There's a lot of divorce attorneys out there. So for a lot of people, it's a very scary thing. Mm-hmm. Walk into your office for the first time.
And you do free consults, right? Initially?
I do free consults usually over the phone. Sometimes people want to come in and they want to spend a lot of time or have me go over paperwork, and so I do charge for that time.
Okay, so go ahead,
here
Stephen.
you are, you're sitting, female, male, doesn't matter. I'm just saying, what do you do? Because here's someone who's nervous. This might be the first time they've ever gone through this.
Yep.
How do you ease them? How do you
make them feel comfortable?
Yeah. Well, usually, people want to know. They want to know what I know, obviously. This is what I do. They want to know how they're going to get through this process. They want to know what's going to be involved in the process, all the things that I just started talking about, the business of it all. But, of course, you develop a very personal relationship with your clients as time goes on.
It's a very emotional process.
Absolutely. It's emotional. It's heartbreaking. It's gut-wrenching.
Especially when kids
I'm not
are
going to
involved.
lie. Absolutely. It's
got a tough job.
It's a loss. It's not easy. And so, it is important, that you find an attorney that you're comfortable with and you feel comfortable with, personally, even though, that's not the attorney's job, but it's an element of the relationship because you're going to be dealing with each other so much.
Exactly.
So does it matter who files first, whether it's the husband or the wife?
It really doesn't matter who files first. A lot of people ask me that question. It really doesn't matter, and that goes to sort of the issue or the concept that Florida is a no-fault state.
Right.
It's kind of a topic we discuss where we say, listen, no one's really going to look. The judge is never going to look at who filed first, who wanted the divorce, who didn't want the divorce, who sought counseling, who didn't, who tried harder, whose fault it was that the relationship broke down. And so it really doesn't matter. Some people think, the judge is going to see that I filed first. I'm the petitioner. I want to be the petitioner. If that matters to you, fine. But it really ultimately doesn't matter. The only, sometimes I would advise people on occasion if they have a concern regarding timing. For example, you might have a situation where your spouse is racking up tons of credit card debt. And the moment you file, that's like a cutoff date. Because
so that means you can't use the credit card anymore?
No.
So if you're planning to get a divorce, use it very quickly?
You can use it, but after the date of filing, all of the debt that's incurred is going to be solely that spouse's debt. So in other words...
So before that point, everything is mutual.
Everything
and after
is marital.
that, you're on your own, basically.
Yeah, debt incurred during the marriage, no matter in whose name, is marital debt. So it's subject to 50-50 division / responsibility. So
that's
something
not
like
after
that.
the divorce. That's not after the divorce. That's once you file for divorce, that's it. You're responsible for your portion if you're going to start racking up credit card bills.
Right. So that's
Interesting.
something that would come into play as far as who files first or if you file first. But generally, it doesn't matter.
So you mentioned about no fault. So Florida's no fault state. Tell everybody what that means.
What that means is, what that really means is that Florida does not require grounds to get a divorce. So in other states, and I don't even know what they are anymore. I don't know if there are even states left that have grounds for divorce, maybe a few. You might have to prove adultery or, different things like that. In Florida, you don't need a reason. The only reason or grounds you state in your petition is that the marriage is, quote, irretrievably broken. And that's a legal phrase. And what that means is that the marriage is over and there's nothing the court can do to put it back together. And then beyond that, like I said, no one's ever going to ask you why or what the reason or whose fault or what, those things may come up when you're, for example, in mediation or something, discussing, how this is all, how you're going to resolve the entire case and some of the history and all that. But,
and how could that be beneficial anyway? Does it make a difference here?
Sometimes, when we'll get to mediation in a minute, I want to talk about that because, sometimes it helps people because even though, like we said, it's a no-fault state,
I know they say you can be divorced within 90 days, but that's not the case here.
Yeah, no, emotion plays a huge part of it. I find that people are really fueled by fear, by anger, by all those things that are, and understandably, I mean, this is your life, this is your relationship, your children, your family, your living quarters, everything, and it's all being, possibly torn apart. So, understandably, emotion plays a part of it, and sometimes they do want to talk those things over and they have to move past those things. So sometimes we talk about it, whether it's just attorney and client or in a mediation where they're discussing it on an informal basis, just to kind of go through a history of the relationship. It helps sometimes.
So what I love about your firm is over the years it's mostly women saying, I really got screwed. My attorney was not a bulldog.
Hello. I'll raise my hand here.
But here's what I like about your firm. This is all you do. And I now looking back, a lot of them said, he did criminal law, he did personal injury. He had like a boutique of...
Tina, that's what I went into. I went to a lawyer that had a boutique of different things, personal injury, criminal, family, and basically...
But this is all you do.
Yes. This is all I do,
And that's important.
It helps me. I mean, I can't imagine having to, frankly, know all those other areas of law or even trying to do that, and I don't want to do that. And I think that's something that my clients, appreciate and benefit from, is that this is all I do. I'm in court all the time. I'm researching these issues. I'm learning the law as these laws are changing all the time with the times, and I'm constantly up on that. And so I think it really, it benefits everyone. Yeah.
So you were talking about mediation because I want to talk about that. So tell everybody what about mediation and what that is.
Sure. Mediation is a process. Most of the Florida counties, I know in Palm Beach County, it's essentially it's required. I mean, the judges are going to require you to mediate before they will let you come before them, usually on any issue, even a temporary issue, much less trial. So they want you to try to resolve your case. So mediation is where it's an informal process. It's a settlement conference, and you'll have a mediator. Typically, the attorneys will choose the mediator. There are a lot of mediators around that we kind of all know. We use the same ones over and over. The mediators that I use, and I think most attorneys, most of my colleagues use, are also attorneys with their mediator hat on. They can't give legal advice, but it's good that they have the background and the knowledge and the understanding, as attorneys. So basically, the parties will meet at, say, one of the attorney's offices. Most of the time in family law, I find anyway, the parties, so you'll have the husband with his attorney and the wife with her attorney, and they'll spend most of the mediation conference in separate rooms. And the mediator will go back and forth. And it's a negotiation. It's a settlement conference. It's informal. It's confidential, so that nothing that's said in mediation can ever get back to the judge. So, for example, if someone offers the sun, moon, and stars in mediation, and then it doesn't work out, they don't settle, or they retract that offer or something, the other party can't say, he was willing to offer me this in mediation, judge. The mediator can't be subpoenaed to talk about it. So it's and that's good. It's for a good purpose. That way, you're free to throw out settlement proposals and
And
not
what
be
happens?
punished for it.
And what happens if you can't settle through the mediation?
If you can't settle through mediation, in a lot of family law cases, we go to more than one mediation. Sometimes the case settles not at the first mediation, but at the second or even the third
Right,
mediation.
then it becomes very costly.
Yeah, but less costly than trial.
That's true. That's true.
And that's the last resort, is that if you don't settle at mediation or
Then
otherwise, you're
the
going to
judge
trial,
decides.
and the judge decides. We don't have juries in family law. We have judges. So your case is going before a judge, one person.
A family law judge.
A family law judge.
That's
right?
all they do.
That's all they do. Although there are some judges, I know in Palm Beach County, in the South County Courthouse, the judges there, there are 3 family law judges there. They all also do probate. So they have family law and
okay.
probate. But yeah, they're essentially a stranger. So I tell my clients, remember, everyone thinks, they're going to go in front of the judge and they're going to hear my case and they're going to get it and they're going to understand me. They have no clue about your life, your history, your family. You walk in there, you have, a day, maybe a couple days, depending on the complexity of your case.
And they're basically looking at the documents and making a decision.
Right,
That's it.
and they know nothing, and
Right.
they don't know that. They don't usually review the file much, if at all, before the trial. Very briefly. So, of course, it's optimal to try and resolve your case.
Absolutely. Let's
Hey,
go to
we got to go
commercial
to break.
Yes.
And we come back, we have more family law talk. We'll be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
And we're back. I know the show's going to go by fast. I mean, we aren't even close to all the questions we have.
I have so many questions for her, too.
Right. And Attorney Tina Lewert's going to be with us every month now. So we're going to have our family show on. It'll be on next month, in January. And, boy, this is a tough time, with the holidays. So it's not easy talking about divorce.
Sure. But you know what? That's interesting that you say that, because it's sad. It's like people, they say it's one of the most traumatic things a person can go through in their life, and it is. It absolutely
even
is.
if you want the divorce,
Right.
It's still
it's a loss, right?
Yes, big
but
time.
you know what? Let's face it. People aren't coming to me. People aren't sitting in my office, even consulting or filing for divorce because they're happy with the way things are.
Right.
So ultimately, when I it's a tough process to go through. It's emotional. It's difficult, but. Usually when I take a client out of court and we leave and we've just finalized the divorce, I say congratulations, and everyone I've ever said that to happily accepts that sentiment. So.
And you're board certified, so tell everybody what that means, because that means you have a lot more experience.
Sure. Well, we were talking about when Renee said, some attorneys, they dabble in family law. Board certification is a distinction or designation by the Florida Bar of expertise or that you specialize or you're an expert in a certain area of practice. So you can
and that's why she's on the show, because she's an expert.
Yeah, there you go. It fits. So, and that's important actually. Only board certified attorneys can call themselves experts or say that they specialize in that area of law. If you're not board certified, you can't say that. But most attorneys, I just read the other day, I think we're up to over 100,000 attorneys in Florida. I think we're in the six figures now. Most attorneys are not board certified. I believe it's something like 6% of all attorneys in the state of Florida are board certified in any area of practice. And so, yeah, what it means is that, you've gone through a rigorous application and testing process. You have a certain level of experience. You have a certain percentage of your practice that constitutes this area. You have gotten peer, colleague reviews and recommendations. You've gotten recommendations from judges. You've gone through a not so easy testing process. A lot of people don't pass that on their first try or ever. And you have you go through a character and ethics review, and board certified attorneys are held to a higher standard of ethics than other attorneys. So it's something that's important. A lot of people don't know what that means, but when you're looking for an attorney,
take my advice.
Yeah.
You need to have somebody like Tina that's board certified.
It's a good idea to have somebody who does this and only this, because
Specializes
it's a very
in this. Yes.
intricate area of practice. I mean, so many issues we deal with. And they're delicate and serious issues.
Let me ask you a question. How do they calculate child support? Because I know that's the biggest question we get from people. Because you were talking about modifications. I know you could go in and modify after the fact. A lot of people, from their incomes change, and you could go in for modifications, which I'm sure you handle as well.
All the time.
But how do you calculate child support? Because I never understood that.
Yeah, Florida, states are different, because some states, I think, do it as like a percentage of the payor's income. Florida has a formula. It's set forth by Florida Statute 61.30, and that's actually a long statute, and part of it's long because within that statute there's a chart and a numerical chart. And so what they do is they'll look at there's a calculation that starts with looking at both parties' net incomes.
So they add the incomes together.
They add the incomes together, net incomes after taxes and some other deductions that they're allowed to take. And then they'll say, okay, so based on this net income per month, say your husband and wife together, they both earn $10,000 a month combined. And then they have 2 children. And so the chart will say $10,000 a month and 2 children. This number is what the state of Florida has determined it costs both parents to raise these 2 children. So, and then that number is divided between the 2 parties proportionate to their income.
Okay, so what happens if the husband has his own business and he doesn't show all his income? So do you have to start getting into forensics? And
sometimes, yeah. That usually when I hear that someone has a small business or any business or a business interest, that triggers, yes, absolutely, that we're going to need a forensic accountant. Not always, but sometimes, and it depends on how simple or complex the person's books and records are, or how the business is itself. Absolutely, there are a lot of. When you have someone who deals with cash,
they hide their assets.
It's difficult. It's much more difficult to prove and to get to the bottom of. Or you have somebody, a business owner, a small business owner, will say, "Oh, my tax return shows that I only make $15,000 a year."
Right.
But guess what? They pay everything through their business, and that's fine. The IRS may say they can do that. It's all tax deductible or whatever. Right. And that's not our issue. Our issue is, well, how much do you really make? Because if you're paying your health insurance, your car, your all these things, all these other expenses that are tax deductible through your business, those things need to be added back on to your income to figure out the real numbers. So.
Okay, and I have another question. I know there's no such thing as a legal separation. So when you separate, how do you get child support? Because I know a lot of husbands and wives, they'll get separated, and the husband is not mandated to give child support.
Or the wife, depending on...
No, I know, but typically the wife is left with the children. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
For all argument's sake.
It's true.
That's usually the case.
Yeah.
But there's no child support that's set in place for the children. So or alimony or anything.
Right. It depends. Sometimes I talk to people and they've kind of worked that out between themselves on a temporary basis.
A lot of times they haven't.
A lot of times they haven't. So what the person who would be seeking support, child support or alimony, can do is either they can file for divorce, and within the divorce case file a motion for temporary relief and seek a temporary hearing, meaning like an interim hearing, a hearing during the pendency of the case. Or there is a statute. There are statutes that talk about or that provide for child support or alimony unconnected with a dissolution of marriage. So it's not used much, but I've seen it and I've done it, and you can get support outside of the the scope of divorce.
Okay, I'm talking from experience. I know even if you put in to have, the case go right to I forgot what it's called, an emergency injunction. Is that what it is?
Depends on
Anyway,
what you're talking.
it still takes a long time.
Yeah.
So if you're left with no money
Yeah.
and your husband walks away from you, that's a difficult process. It really is.
It's rough, and the time. Listen, the courts are backed up with these
Exactly,
cases.
that's what I'm saying.
They're a lot, and it's something that's beyond really anyone's control. When you'll get your hearing, and a lot of a lot of the counties, including Palm Beach County, has a requirement that you have to go to mediation before you can get a temporary relief hearing. So then you're doing financial disclosure, then mediation, then your hearing. It can take a
crazy,
while.
yeah.
So you may have to, do
God,
loans
can
and
you
credit
hear
cards
her,
and.
her passion and
I know, I love
her
it.
energy?
I wish I would have known it 10 years
Wow.
ago.
This is
I would
what
have
I
gone to
do,
her.
yeah.
Anyway, give your phone number out again.
Sure. It's 561-544-6861.
And your address.
The address of the office is 5355 Town Center Road, Boca Raton, Florida. Actually, Suite 203, Boca Raton, Florida 33486, and it's in the Wells Fargo building, the Plaza, which is just east of Town Center in Boca Raton.
And give everybody your website address.
Sure, it's www.lewertlaw.com, spelled Lewert.
I have so many questions for this
I
half
know.
hour flew.
And you know what? You can also go back and watch. By tomorrow, you can go to www.wwnnradio.com, and on that homepage it says WWNN TV. You can click there. You can watch the rerun of today's show.
That's right.
But listen, if you have a friend, a family member, someone who's thinking about going through this horrible process, we've got the best. And we can say, because
She is the expert.
she is the expert. Thank you so much for coming
Oh,
in.
thank you guys.
Live
I had
today.
such a great time. Thank
Can't
you.
wait to have her back again.
I got
next
lots
month.
more to say.
Oh,
And
good.
we want to hear it.
Okay.
Very good. Hey, listen, today, if it weren't for you guys, there'd be no us. Thanks for tuning in today. We will be back on Monday with another Ask the Experts. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Peace and love.
We're out.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show with Steve-O and Renee. Tune in every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed on the